first speaker. With over 15 years of experience in sales, marketing, and partnerships, our first speaker is a passionate community builder and serves the developer community at DigitalOcean, a leading cloud computing platform for developers and startups. Today, he will share some of the key lessons he's learned from Hacktoberfest, the open source celebration that brings people together from all over the world to make a positive impact on open source. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Mohan Ram. Yay! Woo! Yay!
Hi, Beth.
Hi, Mohan. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of CMX Global. My first time here.
Yes, we're thrilled to have you. Well, have fun. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. And my name is Mohan Ram. Like Beth said, I serve the developer community at DigitalOcean. And today, my talk here is about the power of community and open source. Now, feel free to drop a comment or give me a reaction if you know what Hacktoberfest is, have participated, own one of those t-shirts. If you haven't, okay, amazing. Beth knows, of course. Great. If you don't know, I'm so happy to talk to you about Hacktoberfest. So I'll start off with what is Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of all things open source. It is one of the largest hackathons that happens. It is at the heart of it, a community program. So at DigitalOcean, we started Hacktoberfest back in 2014, and I want to talk about how we've grown and scaled the program over the years, and what are our key lessons about building a community program. And I hope from my talk, some of the key takeaways that you'll have is knowing how we created Hacktoberfest, and hopefully some tips so that you can create your own community program. I know CMX Global attracts a lot of people who are passionate about the community, want to serve, want to contribute. So I hope you will have some key takeaways. Now, throughout my talk, I'll be peppering some terms. I'm sure most of you are familiar, but I did not want to presume. So a couple of terms like open source. And when I say open source, I mean free and open software that is licensed in a way that you can use somebody else's code. Now, GitHub and GitLab, I'm sure many of you are super users of those platforms. These are platforms that let you host programs and content and code. And repositories are really collections of code. And when I say pull request, this is any change or modification that you can make to code, either yours or someone else's on platforms like GitHub and GitLab. When I talk about contributors and maintainers, and these terms are specific to Hacktoberfest, so I wanted to ensure that you understand what I mean when I say contributors and maintainers. Now, there are people hosting their code on platforms like GitHub and GitLab. And when I say contributors, these are people who are not part of that project or repository, but want to contribute by making changes. They can make changes by adding code contributions, writing or updating documentation, pointing out any issues, or helping with testing. Those are called contributors. And maintainers are people who have access to code base and are in charge of maintaining the project. They can review contributions, manage the community, and own the documentation, and are overall responsible for the quality of the code and for defining the goals. For my talk, I want to give you a quick history of Hacktoberfest, right? So back in 2014, the team here at DigitalOcean put out a blog saying, hey, it's October 1st, and all through October, we invite you to make contributions. We in fact said, make 50 or more commits on any publicly available GitHub repo in the month of October, and we'll send you a limited edition t-shirt from Hacktoberfest wherever you are in the world. And to our surprise, we saw about 600 odd people signed up, 500 completions, and we saw 50,000 plus pull requests, right? This was amazing. And our team was really encouraged to continue doing this. And over the years, if you see the numbers here, Hacktoberfest has grown and scaled tremendously. Year on year, we've had an increase in signups, completions, and pull requests. Only in the first year, we said, you need to make 50 commits on a public repo. But we soon changed it to make it more accessible to all, by saying you need to do 4 pull requests, and these are any changes or documentation sort of recommendations that you can make to publicly available GitHub repos. And you would have completed the GitHub sort of the Hacktoberfest challenge, and we'll send you a T-shirt. So over the years, as you can see, the numbers, it's really grown and scaled. And for a community program, this is really heartwarming. And if you see around 2021, we all had a minor inconvenience in the form of a pandemic. And of course, and despite that, to see numbers that have grown and scaled over time is really heartwarming. But also, numbers can only tell you a part of the story, right? What has been really amazing as part of Hacktoberfest is seeing how the community has made it their own, has really shown the program love and contributed to it over the years. So as we sent out these T-shirts, we had teams, companies participating in it and hacking away together to overall contribute to the open source repos that are publicly available, and overall increasing the quality of open source content out there. We started seeing very interesting feedback. Like, this is a super user who is participated in Hacktoberfest year on year and collected T-shirts. And what was really wonderful to see is people almost wearing their Hacktoberfest T-shirts as a badge of honor, that they've earned something by making contributions positively to the open source community. Here you see one of the speakers at Google's Chrome Dev Summit in 2019 wearing their 2018 Hacktoberfest T-shirt. We also started seeing people do talks about Hacktoberfest at DevRelCon and other community conferences. So we knew the team was up to something. We also started seeing how communities around the world and companies, and many of these are companies that you either have used in the past, their products, or you work for them. A lot of communities started coming together and contributing to Hacktoberfest. And we also started seeing feedback from folks, right? About this is a feedback or a quote from a maintainer, Sven from Germany, who says they have maintained multiple larger projects and has been so interested in seeing all the contributions that have happened to their projects over time. We've also seen people, and this was so surprising to see, that people were also getting internships and jobs through Hacktoberfest, right? This is a participant from Kenya who says they've got multiple job offers and spoken and at huge tech conferences because of their participation in Hacktoberfest. Now, we've had about 2 million plus pull requests in 10 years. What have been our lessons from Hacktoberfest, right? So the first thing is starting with an intention to serve the community. At DigitalOcean, community is one of our values. We truly believe that our community is bigger than just us, right? And when we talk about community, we are talking about our users, our customers, our partners, our employees, and developers and open source developers around the world, communities that we actively participate in, that we contribute to. So Hacktoberfest really started with that, with an intention to serve the community. How do we contribute and make an impact in the community that we participate in? And the next key lesson that we've had is, how do we start adding value to it, right? How can we add more value to our community? For us, it was ensuring that people were benefiting from the open-hearted sort of like contributions and helping each other with their code, improving the overall quality of open source code that is available. And we also started enabling people, right? We started putting together resources that would make people come together and hack away through October to overall contribute. So we put together event kits, swag across the program, so people anywhere in the world could take this and make it their own. And the other big lesson that we've had is, to scale, don't go it alone. Over the years, Hacktoberfest has been possible because of our sponsors, because of our partners, right? Lots of companies are trying to do similar things. So if we join hands and partner with them, we can really scale a program of this magnitude. Over the years, we've had really active partnership with GitHub and GitLab, and companies like Twilio and Cloudflare have come on board to support the program as well. The next key lesson is practicing active listening and listening to your community. Now, Hacktoberfest hasn't been all hunky-dory, right? As a program of this size and scale, we've had challenges. Hacktoberfest year on year brings in lots of new users who are who have the intention to contribute to the community and open source, but many of them are beginners. They don't know how to do it in the right way, and it also led to a lot of spam contributions, right? We started hearing from maintainers about spam pull requests, either because somebody doesn't know how to do it or because somebody is doing it for a t-shirt, right? So we've had to change and pivot and ensure that the program is overall high quality and is leading to good pull requests, and people are not creating spam pull requests. So here you can see a lot of feedback where people were like, either they were getting spam pull requests or their t-shirts weren't getting delivered. Now, I don't know of another program that ships out more than 50, 60,000 t-shirts around the world, right? So I think there were definitely challenges. And what has really been helpful is listening to our community and making those programmatic changes. And the next lesson is we let the community make it their own. Instead of saying we are going to do this by ourselves, we've invited partners, customers, but also really providing the resources to our users to make these programs themselves. We've provided the brand guidelines on how to use Hacktoberfest and make it their own. And it's so wonderful to see companies like Twilio, Auth0, Hasura, and OpenEBS all come together to participate in Hacktoberfest. Companies started their own events, started their own challenges, their own swag to participate in Hacktoberfest. As you can see in these pictures, the community really made the program their own, and we've had more than 150 countries participate in it. We've seen a lot of contributions from our top countries are, of course, India, the US, and Indonesia, but we've seen participation from some remote places as well, more than 150 countries that are participating in Hacktoberfest. Here you can see Microsoft participating in the program as well, and their employees really having their own swag and participating in the program. And the next lesson that we had is the value of inclusivity, right? And like I said, year on year, a lot of new users come into the program, many first-time folks getting exposed to programming, but also really open source and how to make contributions. We've seen lots of great feedback. For example, here's Carly from Girl Develop It in San Francisco about how they were a beginner and Hacktoberfest made them feel comfortable in contributing to it. And that's awesome. Here you see somebody who was a contributor and then went on to become a maintainer of a project. And that's really the intention of how we all contribute to open source. Here you see Nikhil about how they participated in the program and then decided to pay back by helping out others. So really, you'll see a lot of pictures. If you want to see other folks from the community participating, just look up hashtag Hacktoberfest on Twitter or X and Instagram. So in summary, some of the key takeaways I'd like for you to have is as you're building out community programs for your own company, in your own communities, how do you start with the community with the intention to serve that community? How can you add value? And how can you partner with others who are trying to do similar things and also practice active listening? This is great advice in life in general, but also really for the people participating in your community. How are you actively listening to their challenges? How are you helping them solve those challenges? And also really let your community make it their own and be more inclusive as part of that. So those were some high level lessons that we've had. Now, Hacktoberfest 2024 is upon us. September really is what we call Preptember. So a lot of people are prepping their repositories to ensure they can participate in Hacktoberfest. I won't go through the next couple of slides in detail, but all the rules for contributors and maintainers are listed on our website, hacktoberfest.com. So if any of you are looking to participate, do look it up. So really, at a very high level, we require 4 pull requests on GitHub or GitLab, and 4 projects that are specifically tagged with Hacktoberfest and that they are participating in the program. And there are a couple of rules for maintainers and contributors. And I wanted to do a quick shout out to some of our sponsors and community partners of this year who are making Hacktoberfest possible year on year. With that said, brace yourself, because in a week, Hacktoberfest is coming, and we'd love for all of you to participate. If you haven't participated before, if you are a returning participant, we welcome you back. And with that, you can also see a lot of people are already excited. People on social media are saying how they've registered, they're excited about that. They've started posting their projects that are going to participate in Hacktoberfest. People are announcing internships for people participating in Hacktoberfest. So it's really a community program that has grown because of the power of community, the power of open source, and hopefully you had some key takeaways from that.
Yeah, I first of all, thank you. I think I love the storytelling, and I wrote it in the comments. I think the story and the kind of reference, it's definitely like one of the most amazing kind of presentations I've seen in a while. I would one of the things that I would like to ask you is, so I lead Bangalore chapter with Arun in India, and one of the things happening is a lot of new chapters coming on board. So Hacktoberfest is something that has kind of already, I would say, built a brand for itself, and it really kind of helps once you build a brand. But then for you to comment on is that if I'm kind of designing something from scratch, from the building, something from trying to build something from the scratch, and take it to where Hacktober is today, what are a few things that I should be like careful about in the first 1.5 years before we kind of start becoming a brand? Because I think starting with a brand name is very easy, but then a lot of us are starting from scratch and like building a community specifically for a topic, especially with AI coming in. I see a lot of AI communities that eventually would be as big as Hacktober in a few years. So what do you think we should probably look at in the first 1.5 years when the brand is not that known?
Yeah, great question, Shweta. So I would say, and I see this, right? Especially with AI coming, a lot of like newer meetup chapters, newer communities are being formed. And I think what's important initially is how you are showing up for the community, your first set of interested users, right? Is what do they care about? Maybe talk to them about what are they interested in kind of getting out of these communities and meetups. If it is content, then ensure there are really good speakers coming for those meetups. People are regularly coming back. There is a channel for attendees and participants to share their feedback, but also inputs on how do they want to make this program, what do they want to see from the program in the future. There is, of course, a vision with which you've started, but kind of also inviting others to contribute to that vision and making it bigger, and building a brand, right? Sometimes people can tend to want to become everything for everybody. Maybe that's probably not the way to go, right? Like I think with Hacktoberfest, the niche is the open source, right? And that's a huge community, right? And there are huge communities. And in fact, as much as Hacktoberfest is associated with DigitalOcean, we've tried to keep it as a brand that is almost neutral, right? It's a community-owned brand. So we don't try to push a lot of like DigitalOcean there. It is a program that is for the community and by the community, and that is the ethos with which we sort of like run and execute Hacktoberfest.
Thank you. I think, yeah, very well-rounded answer. I just want to check, Beth, are there any questions from the audience in the chat?
Yes, there are. On the Q&A tab, we've got a handful of great ones. Jenny, do you see them, Shweta?
Yes. Yes, I see them now. Okay. So yeah, how do you go about building the partnerships to scale the program? Yeah, again, I think very relevant at all stages in the community.
Yeah. I think so. In terms of scaling partnerships for the program, I think initially there were a couple of very obvious partners, right? Because the program leverages GitHub, we started inviting or reaching out to folks at GitHub and getting them on board in terms of how they can support the program. So we have both GitHub as well as their education program part of Hacktoberfest. But there are also, we started seeing a lot of other organizations that are very interested in open source, have open source projects, but also are catering and wanting to serve developers similarly. So companies that are similar in sort of like the kind of users that they serve, companies like Twilio and Cloudflare, and Auth0, a lot of developer products as well. Those became sort of like obvious partners for the program. But also we open up sponsorship for anybody who wants to come contribute to the program monetarily, but also through the community, right? By hosting their projects, by contributing to open source in general. So I think that way we've kind of been able to grow and scale. For example, initially when we started in 2014, GitHub was the platform for open, like hosting your repos. Over the years, GitLab became a very popular platform as well. So we started ensuring that there was inclusivity for GitLab and people hosting their code on GitLab as well to participate. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, that actually answers two of the questions. And there's a very interesting question that I would like to take if we have time, which is how do you track engagement and what is the prioritization process after seeing some of those metrics or responses? Yeah. So engagement tracking, what do you do there? And then how do you prioritize some of those? Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, the key metrics is how many people are registering to participate, how many people are starting pull requests. It requires a minimum of one pull request to participate. To complete the challenge, 4 pull requests. So we also closely track how many people are completing the challenge. And of course, how many sort of like pull requests in total we are seeing. So really the number of people registering and signing up to participate, as well as the number of completions on pull requests is what we closely track. And of course, how we prioritize is we, at some point, I spoke about the challenge of spam pull requests that we saw. So we really wanted to give maintainers the power to kind of be able to manage their own repositories, right? Like they had to self-select and tag their project with the label Hacktoberfest for it to even participate. It was not any public repos that people could contribute to. Maintainers had to list their project as participating in Hacktoberfest to invite pull requests. But also maintainers have the power to go and either accept a pull request or decline a pull request, right? So sometimes people for t-shirts could do very spammy pull requests. So we put the power back in the maintainer's hands to say, how can you accept the pull requests that are meaningful contributions to your project, And those are the pull requests that we actually count towards the 4 pull requests that each person has to complete to get benefits. And one thing I probably forgot to mention is certain things have changed with the program. And I see a question about like t-shirts, right? Like during the pandemic, it was very challenging to send out t-shirts because things had shut down, like bare essentials were hard to come by. But so we really opened up an option to say teas or trees. So people could choose to get a t-shirt or choose to plant a tree. We partnered with a nonprofit that was planting trees on your behalf. That's another way of contributing to the community and that we are all a part of, right? So certain things in the program have changed. Now we've kind of discontinued the t-shirts, but hopefully sometime in the future, we'll have partners enough come on board to bring back t-shirts. But also I think the developer community is very sort of conscious and sustainable. So a lot of people chose not to get t-shirts as well.
Cool. I think with that, we have kind of covered all the questions for the session. And Beth is here, so I'll hand it over to her to take it forward.
I'm here. I'm like the cane. I'm like, okay, guys, it's time. I gotta pull you off stage. Yes, thank you so much, Mohan. Thank you very much, Shweta. That was excellent. I feel like we got a lot of questions covered. I actually saved the unanswered questions, so hopefully we can turn them into a blog post, or maybe we can do some social media magic. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved, and thank you again, Mohan and Shweta.
Yeah, thank you, Beth and
Thank
Shweta,
you
for having me. Have a great rest of the event. I'm looking forward to the sessions.